Welcome to the video walkthrough for Profess Time Manager. This video is designed to help you get the most out of your free trial or new copy of the software. It will guide you through setting up Time Manager from scratch, including creating projects, activities and staff, entering time, viewing reports, using the leave and expenses management and changing settings for the system. Before you can begin using Time Manager, you'll first need to create your free trial account if you've not already done so. To do this, visit www.profess.co.uk and click on the free trial link on the home page. Once you have set up your trial, you'll be sent a link to access your database. Clicking on the link will take you to a page which looks like this. The exact address of this page is unique to your copy of Time Manager and is randomly generated for security. To log into your trial, use the username admin and the password admin. You should now see the main Time Manager desktop. The first thing you will need to do before you can start using Time Manager to create timesheets is set up your staff, projects and activities. If you have a trial with a sample data set, there will already be some sample staff, projects and activities set up for you. If you still want to learn how to set up your own, you can watch the next section, but if you'd rather go straight to entering some time, just skip to section 2 of this walkthrough. To create a new staff member, go to Setup, Staff, Maintain Staff to open a screen showing all your current staff members. If you've chosen a blank dataset, the only record here will be the admin account we just used to log in. If you have a pre-populated sample dataset, there will already be some entries. The bar at the top of the screen shows how many staff you currently have in the system and your staff limit. In the trial copy, the maximum staff limit is 30. But in the full version, there's no limit to the amount of user licenses that can be purchased. To set up a new staff member, click on the Add New Record button above the list. This will open a screen where you can enter all the details about this member of staff. Every member of staff will need a staff reference, which will also act as their username, which they use to log in. This can be any reference you want, provided it's under 10 characters. Here we'll just use this member of staff's initials, then enter their name below. You can also enter their job title if you want. And the next few fields we can ignore for now, although we will come back to talk about teams later. You'll probably want to set most members of staff to the default security group, unless you want them to be administrators, which gives them full access to the admin and setup menus. Again, we'll talk more about security groups later. If you want to use leave management, put in their leave allowance, and you'll also need to enter their working hours per week, so the system can work out when they've worked over or under their normal working hours. The rest of the fields can be left blank at the moment, although we recommend you enter an email address, as this will be used to notify staff of approval of leave and expenses requests without requiring them to log in. Finally, click on the Costs and Charges tab to display the staff member's hourly cost and charge. You can enter an effective from date if you want. Again, this is not necessary. If you don't enter one, the values here will simply apply to all time entered by this person. If you know an hourly cost for this staff member, you can enter it here, and this can be used in reports. There are different ways to calculate staff costs, so we won't go into this here, but if you want to use staff costs in your reporting, you can look at the help files or call our help desk and we'll be happy to talk you through setting this up. However, it is useful to set up a charge rate for each member of staff. This is the rate charged to clients for work done by this staff member. We'll set this to £50 per hour here. You can use charge groups rather than setting an hourly cost, but again, this is more advanced and you can find out more about it in the help files. Click on Save and Close and you'll see this new member of staff in the list. We'll set up one more staff member, this time a manager who we want to be an administrator. I click on Add New, enter a reference, name and job title. I leave the security group as administrator. I enter the leave allowance, working hours and email. Then finally, I set the hourly charge rate to £75 and then I click Save and Close. That's all the members of staff will need to demonstrate the main features in Time Manager, but feel free to keep adding more if you want to. Now we have some staff members, we'll need to set up projects and activities. A project within Time Manager is just a piece of work or a job. You can set them up however suits you the best. Some people like to set up a project to represent each of their clients, then activities to define the work. Others will make a project a certain piece of work, such as a building contract, or a type of work, such as customer support, then use activities to show a more detailed breakdown. You should get a feel for how projects and activities work as we go through this walkthrough, and you can then set them up in whatever way best suits your business. If you want any more advice, just call our help desk and we can talk you through the options. Let's set up our first project by going into Setup, Projects, Maintain Projects. Again, if you're using sample data, you'll already see some projects here, and both versions will contain an Overheads project. Click on Add New Record to create a new entry. All you need to enter to create a project is a reference and name. Here, I'm creating a project for a piece of bespoke work, which I'll leave as chargeable since it will be charged to a client. You can choose the client that this work is for if you want to, but before you can do this, you would need to set up clients in the Setup menu, so for now I'll just leave this blank. You can leave the rest of the fields at their defaults for now too. I'll also set up a training project and make this chargeable. Then I will set up a development project and make this non-chargeable by unticking the chargeable box, to use for general upgrade and development work which is not charged to any client. And finally, I'll create a support project and also make this non-chargeable. When you've set up all the projects that you want, the last thing that you need to do before starting to enter time is create some activities. Go to Setup, Activities, Maintain Activities. Even with a blank database, you'll see activities for leave setup, as these are standard and come with all datasets. Setting up activities is very similar to what we've already done with staff and projects. Click on Add New Record to open a new activity. Enter the activity information. The minimum you'll need here is a reference and name, and to set the charge basis and allow on drop-downs to the correct values. The activity I'm setting up now is Initial Design on Bespoke Projects. You can see that this would be chargeable since it's bespoke work, and to help speed up time entry and prevent this being booked to overheads, we'll allow it on chargeable projects only. The rest can be left as it is, and you can then click on Save and Close to create this activity. Next, I'll create activities for bespoke development and then consultancy. These will also be chargeable and allowed only against chargeable projects. Then I create an activity for admin work. This will be non-chargeable, so I'll just allow it on non-chargeable projects. And finally, I create a customer support activity. Again, non-chargeable and only allowed on non-chargeable projects. If I set up several more activities, I'll end up with a list that looks like this. You can see I have a mixture of chargeable and non-chargeable activities which cover a variety of different work. That's all the setup you need to do to begin using Time Manager. The next section will take you through time entry and reporting.